the Lloyd Center exit, the Convention Center exit, every motherfucking exit. You bum motherfuckers! You!
Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us.
tick faster. That'll be the hour they knock the slick blaster. Dick dastardly, a Muttley with sick laughter. A gunfight and they come to cut the mix master. And living the true gods. Giving y'all nothing but the lick like two broads. Got more lyrics than the church got ooh lords. And they hold the mic at your attention like two swords. Or either one with two blades on it. Hey you, don't touch the mic like it's AIDS on it.
All right, welcome once again to the beatzillapdx official show, and this is the weekly wrap up. I am your host, beatzillapdx officially. Please hit that like and share button as you are coming into this broadcast. I would greatly appreciate it. That helps this channel get views. We are now over 1,700, so thank you all for joining and subscribing to this channel. For those of you who are watching who are not subscribed right now, you should do so right now. Go hit the subscribe button. It's free. Go hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the word all. That way you'll be notified anytime a video is uploaded or this channel goes live. As this broadcast is typically live. But tonight, of course, it is not. Because we have things to do. And truth be told, family, I went through some kind of chemical poisoning type deal this week. So I'm recovering, but still a bit draggy. So if, you all wonder, well, he ain't quite normal. If I'm not, I don't know. But yeah, I'm not 100%. And, when outside chemicals are sprayed inside and not in the timely fashion that they're supposed to be done. Oh, you know what? By the way, let me get that up there. By the way, we're actually live on camera. I did not realize I did not turn the camera on. But nonetheless, like I said, if y'all wondered, hey, you look kind of tired, I am. Because, yeah, that whatever they sprayed, preventative whatever, okay. We'll call it that. I do not like chemicals being sprayed around in my vicinity, and especially when you're talking about doing it indoors. So, needless to say, we on the mend over here. But we are here nonetheless. So, with that being said, family, we are talking about something that y'all might have missed in all of the melee with Israel and Palestine and whatnot, is that Joe Biden actually put out a statement. Well, the White House put out a statement about George Floyd's birthday. He would have been 50. Now, of course, you know that there's still no anti-black hate crime bill or anti-black hate crime bill. There's no George Floyd police act. All of the promises that were made have failed. However, we're watching in an instant that billions upon billions can be found to go to other people. But we can't get a pen stroke of a law, of a promise to his voter base. See, here's the thing where a lot of people tend to miss when they talk about Joe Biden is, well, if y'all don't vote, then the other people get it. So be it. This is his voter base, and we go ignored. It's not time to start having your head in the sand and saying that he's doing something he is not for black people, because this is what he's doing for black people. So we're going to start off this broadcast tonight with this right here. This right here. So this came out last week on October 14th, as you see, which was Saturday, last Saturday. Yeah, last Saturday. So this reads on, George Floyd should be alive. He should be celebrating his 50th birthday with his young why are we doing that? Scrolling, hold on. With his young daughter Gianna, family and friends. He deserves so much more. Today we join his family to honor his life. Let me get this closer to me. Okay, to honor his life, legacy, or life and legacy, and we remember the tragedy and injustice of his death that sparked one of the largest civil rights movements in our nation's history and inspired the world. Let me go back right there. The largest civil rights movement. How do you identify that as civil rights? This was the grassroots. I would not call that civil rights. When you say civil rights, you think of people like John Lewis. This was not a John Lewis movement. This was a movement of the young. So notice right there how they're trying to rewrite recent history. No, that was the people that stood up, and then you had to act and get agent provocateurs on the ground because the people acted themselves. They activated themselves. Anyway, George Floyd's murder exposed for many what black and brown community. Oh Lord, George Floyd was a black man. He was not a black or brown man. So let's not do this. See, here's the thing. When it's just solely involving black people, it is so hard for these people just to leave it as black. I mean, it pains them to do that, as you can see. Let's see. So yeah, George Floyd's murder exposed for many what black people have long known and experienced. Our nation has never fully lived. I'm just going to exclude the black and brown talk as I read this because I'm gonna read it as it should be as well. So I'm excluding that black and brown because when there's one individual who gets murdered, he is black. Why are we bringing in a whole nother community into this one singular situation? This doesn't have anything to do with everybody. This is not how it's taking place. Nonetheless, let's see, have experienced that our nation has never fully lived up to its highest ideal of fair and impartial justice for all under the law. Here's another thing. When that Constitution in this country was founded, these were slave owners that were founding this country. So there was that impartial that doesn't exist for people who weren't even considered to be people, but only considered to be property. So that's a very slick way of also saying nothing, but also somewhat low-key being insulting. The day before her father's funeral, Gianna told me, "Daddy changed the world." 3 years after her father's murder, my answer to Gianna remains the same. He has. Right, and you ain't did nothing. Nothing at all, Joe Biden. A year and a half ago, Kamala and I stood with the family of George Floyd, civil rights leaders, and law enforcement officials, and I signed an executive order which applies key elements of the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act to federal law enforcement. Where? What law is that? What law is that, Joe Biden? I'm uncertain of that to which you speak. It had certain elements. Why didn't you write an executive order of that policing act in the first place? This order bans chokeholds, restricts no-knock warrants, establishes a database for police misconduct, and directs other measures to advance effective accountable policing and increases public safety. It is putting federal law enforcement on the path to becoming the gold standard of effectiveness and accountability. Okay, if you believe that. Uh-huh. Oh, sure, Joe. Sure. We'll ride with that. My order also directs the use of federal tools to support similar reforms in state and local agencies. Across our administration, we have made significant progress in fulfilling the requirements of my executive order, making policing safer and rebuilding trust in American communities. But we know that implementing real and lasting change at the state and local level requires Congress to act. I will continue to do everything in my power to fight for police accountability and urge Congress to pass meaningful police reform and send it to my desk. I will sign it. George Floyd's memory reminds us, see, now what he just said right there is basically all of these promises I've made to you, I still really haven't got it done what I actually promised you to do. I mean, and he's cool with that. This is how you know people are way too comfortable with disrespecting you, because he basically is telling you he knows right now with what he's saying. Yeah, I just said all that, and some things I did kind of somewhat aid the cause, but at the same time, it really didn't. So there's that. So I mean, man, let me tell you something. Y'all are really crazy with this vote blue no matter who thing, because this ain't something we can do. We cannot afford to vote blue no matter who. That's one thing we cannot do no more, because what you're hearing and what I'm reading is just flim flam. This is political flim flamming. Let's see. Oh goodness. George Floyd's memory reminds us that there is more work to do to redeem the soul of America. No. It's not George Floyd's death that should remind you. It should be the repeating scream and yelling, bellowing from the rooftops and mountaintops that we need reparations. You have heard no tangibles, no vote. And now you're hearing voting our interest, which means that our vote is for bargaining, like everybody else. I know there's a lot of diehard Biden sexuals and diehard Democrats that have such a hard time accepting that. But as you become a people, then your people should be your own political voice. Where black folks are having, you black Democrats are having an issue, your whole life has been being accepted. And you got the grassroots over here with this new thing that we just simply accept ourselves. Something that a lot of people have so-called been screaming forever. See, you can't pull yourselves up by your bootstraps without your own identity. See, that's a form of, on a national level, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. So what are you complaining about? Oh, see, here's the point. You thought it wouldn't be done. And now that it is, you're saying, why? You have quit. There's a whole new generation behind you. And for all you old Boule, Jack and Jillers, y'all the Moses generation. And we talking about going into the promised land. Y'all ain't making it. And we see why. You cannot let Pharaoh go. So stay with Pharaoh. Let us recommit to changing hearts and minds while enacting policies and laws that ensure our nation lives up to its founding idea that we're all created equal. See, that's a lie. You cannot say our nation lived up to something that was a lie when it was spoken and mentioned and written in the first place. All men, yeah. When you choose somebody else's classification as you did black folks, here's another powerful thing happening in America, which no other group has done. We are self-identifying in the land of our chattel slavery. Who else has done that? We don't need to be compared to any other group. Black and brown is an insult every time that is phrased. No, black only. We stand alone. There's nobody standing with us. Not even other melanated people. They like to be near us, but they ain't standing with us. There have been individuals in years past that have stood with us. Individuals. But as a group, only has leached and leached off our culture. That's it. That's it. Man, you guys, this and that, man, you just sound like this person, that person, and blah, blah, blah. Look, here's one thing about black folks in the grassroots, and here's how you get movements. What happened with the civil rights? You had a march on Washington where all of them that were wanting change and for civil rights, were all of them just mindless followers of Martin Luther King? Or did they realize that they were in a condition that they wanted to change? And see, we have these black folks that get into this, going back and reverting to this conversation of like Martin Luther Kingism. So what they'll do is act like we're only following one voice. In this case, it would be Tariq Nasheed. In some cases, some people will throw Jason Black out there. Here's the thing. Now they'll throw Vicky Dillard out there. When you hear that, understand now, well, obviously, nobody's following one person because you can't complain about multiple people. And then when you mention them by proxy, you also allude to others. That's not one person. That is a collective with all different positions, but all one stance. So you can't lie and say that, well, yeah, man, you just follow to beat this deed. You just follow this person. You just, although you be one, you just this and that. And I don't understand the difference between that and Pan-Africanism, because the whole question of it being Pan-Africanist came from people who didn't know what the hell they were talking about in the first place. So there was never a question. Well, I just feel that it's Black American first. When a person who tells you what the phrase means, then they break it down, and then you start saying, well, I believe it sounds like something else. At some point, you just must want it to be something else. Black first simply just means Black people first. And you always would have to go with your home team. I don't know how that could be a Pan-African thing, because there's no Pan-Africanism in Black first. First identifier. Who identifies as Black? Negroes. What question is that? I mean, really? It's in the name. Black first. Man, I think y'all mean it's Pan. Don't that include everybody around it? Do they identify as Black? Only when it's convenient do they. We're not talking about this soul we got. That's what we're talking about. How shallow can some of you be? I will never get into this conversation. Man, I think that's Pan-African. Okay. That's a waste of time. And I would never get into that argument. Man, to me, be where I don't give a damn about what B1 mean to you. If you could read a book and see you look in a dictionary and look at the definition and then turn around and say, well, I believe that the definition is something different, I ain't got nothing to say to you about nothing. Because that's your logic. I want to believe something beyond what I even just found out. Oh my goodness. Oh no. No, sorry, Bob. No, sorry, Bob. That is so stupid it makes my mind hurt. What are we talking about? Well, it just seems like other people, so many people. No, there's not. Good Lord. Just black folks want to reinvent the wheel every time they chance they get. Why? But well, I mean, man, they give me a talking point. That's cool in certain lanes. But let's not misidentify people that's really riding on this line. And I'm not finna sit up here and waste my effort and my works talking to a fool or some troll or some no business having sucker that just want to be acknowledged, ain't got no attention before in his life. And this internet thing has been the most that's ever happened to him. So they believe it. The hype. I mean, it's cool. Don't get it twisted, but like there's more people that know me than follow me. I mean, it's a large amount of haters. I'm not really into that. So there's that. But again, at the same time, I'm willing to be myself at all times. This is me. And they will never see another dude. Like, nope, this is what it is. Yeah, he ain't lying. Yeah, I don't really follow his stuff. I mean, shoot, I got people that rock with me that don't really like follow what I'm saying because, again, I don't put my convictions on anybody else. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't, like if you ain't living like this, then I can't. I mean, I will not really. Well, I'm not. I don't really over associate with anybody, but you're going to have to deal in this world, and you have to understand how to act and how to conduct yourself. One of the things to understand, you are behind enemy lines. So being bold has its places and has its time. Being wise is always. So I mean, and be wise past the point of what people might think. Because regardless of whatever other folks think, what job are you on? What business are you taking care of to do your part? And if you're on that, then what do you have to prove? That's why I don't, not that I shun or have any problem with anybody who does, but to always have to ramble off accomplishments and stuff like that, that's not really my thing. So I mean, people maybe I don't know what you be doing. What you doing, huh? I mean, it boggles the mind. I mean, there's things that I've been part of that that I've been able to put in place and create that still function to this day and working. One of the major things that I've been able to do here in minding my own state is being part of engineering and writing one of the systems to end recidivism to the point to where we're closing prisons and crime is down without law enforcement in this state. So just saying. Just saying. Yep. But again, it ain't about, hey, look at me. This is what I've done. Do what you're supposed to do. That's all that's, to me, that's all that's supposed to matter. I get that this is we're in the business of media, so I totally understand that. But everybody is not moving in the same direction like that. You know what I mean? So you're in the business. Yes, there's other people that are activists that are in the business. Not everybody is going to be moving the exact same way. So when I hear, man, why ain't this person doing that, or why ain't that person doing this? How do you know what they're doing or not? Because they're not putting it online. Effectiveness don't come by accolades. Accolades should be showing up by your effectiveness. But we are in the microwave generation, so microwave. I'm here today. All right, good. I've seen many of you come catch fire and flame out. Hope that man. I heard this cat say that, yeah, man, it's 2021. We've been here, baby. I said, oh Lord, you just cracked your egg, and all right. Well, again, this ain't gonna be no long broadcast. We don't have much to cover other than two videos we need to take a listen to. Because one thing that's going to happen here, and it's already happening, and we're seeing it happen quite a bit, is that that shaming thing that people love to do so well about vote blue no matter who, y'all stupid with your political position, you don't understand politics, although this is all we cover. Like, my channel is literally under news and politics. Man, I guess you just don't really understand how politics work. I mean, and so right now, all you gonna hear is a bunch of insults, and I guess there's nothing like this. Actually, is speaking to a larger issue, though. Doesn't that say that black folks have a hard? These black Democrats do not know how to effectively communicate with black people. Why has everything got to be an insult or shaming you? Like, we don't have the intellect to say, how does this benefit us? Oh, you just stupid. And I guess you just don't understand policy. And blah, 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 blah. How many times have y'all heard that? Well, one who never disappoints got something to say. Oh, your man. Roly Martin. He got something to say. And look who he got on there on his panel. He got Gary Chambers. And so this dude who put this up, he's a Democratic shield. So that TikTok handle that you see, yeah, that's I believe it's this guy. And see, he had something to say to us too about tangibles or whatnot. Right? So this is his idea of us getting tangibles. Symbolic gestures. This is his idea. So just to give you some insight on who posted this, and he think he really just letting us know something. But let's take a listen.
But this is a Louisiana race, and so I'm just curious. Have you seen or heard that loudmouth ass Jason Black? who's in Louisiana, who's always go to my YouTube page, because like last year, this little idiot did this thing called Pull Up Summer 2022, which was pretty stupid because he claims that I was running from him at Essence Fest, and he
Now, again, when he's talking about Pull Up Summer, why is he downplaying Pull Up Summer? And Pull Up Summer wasn't about Jason Black pulling up on you, stupid. And how disingenuous and how dishonest. Because Roland Martin, you know damn well that ain't the case. And Roland Martin, you had conversations with certain people who told you the people that they were around. You said that we could possibly work together, but we were the ones who always were coming at you. And no, we're just not going to let you be a weasel. What you think? And so, what do you now start doing? I mean, it's kind of crafty, the movement that you do, and I see that. But, I mean, brother, how big is Washington, D.C.? So what you're doing is saying, hey, you know, I just want to support my lane. Well, if your lane requires you taking shots at the voices of new black media, I don't understand how this is supposed to play out. Other than them taking their shots back at you, you're mentioning people by name. Well, they always want to talk about me and this and that. Glad I wasn't wrong about that. Thanks, Roland.
relevant. The fool don't even know I was there the whole time, and he couldn't even get credentials. But I was all over the place. But it's interesting. I see him, all these, I don't see nothing on here about Louisiana gubernatorial race. Nothing. So I get a kick out of these.
Now, here's what he's trying to do. He's trying to present it as if it, I just want to say this take has a very familiar ring to it. What does it sound like? Is Roland Martin not saying, mind your own state? Just asking. Y'all get so trusting. Black skin, especially dark skin. Boy, I'll tell you, dark skin and a foul mouth will make y'all trust somebody real quick. So you write off or downplay in your mind that you're hearing literally the same thing. It's funny that he mentioned pull up and mentioned it out of context. Anyway.
People who love talking black, who love talking about what black folks should do, who love talking about what other black people should be saying and not saying, and he's sitting there in Louisiana, ain't said nothing about the black guy running for governor, but I'm sure he probably gonna try to call him a sellout like he tried to call you one and everybody else. But I purposely just believe in calling.
Well, first off, when you talk about the whole sellout issue, what are you really saying though, Roland? People were not vibing Well, number one, Gary Chambers, you was mad because he wouldn't even come on your show because he still hadn't made it and graduated out of Democrat Shield bootleg grooming school. So he needed to get prepared to be on there with you. And then he came out there smoking the big blunt and got that. And now listen to what they're turning into. Oh man, y'all ain't support this person. Y'all ain't support it. Okay, you got the black mayor in Chicago. And I can't help but remember, and I will say, for those of y'all in Chicago, Greg Piemonte most definitely was not your best choice. And you guys really were burnt all the way around. So that Chicago race was a losing situation unless you guys were willing to vote for a Republican. Because the one thing that you would not have now in Chicago, if you had a Republican mayor, is you absolutely would not have all of those migrant issues that you had. That's a fact. And I'm not advocating by no means the Republicans, but what I am advocating is when the moment suits your interest. This is what I'm saying about not being married to any party. You look out for your own interests. It's not about what they doing. We're not tied to nothing. And they most definitely don't feel tied to us. They just feel entitled to us. There's a big difference with that. So we have to be honest with ourselves about what we're dealing with there, family. You understand me? So let's just keep that real. Let's hear some more of this trash.
These folks out because what they do is talk trash on YouTube, but do nothing to actually help black people. And if you black and listen to that fool, you stuck on stupid too.
You know, Roland, we have a real problem with figuring out how do we collectively advance our people. And a portion of that problem is that some of us speak so much against black progress that we don't contribute anything other than that to black progress, which is not.
Now, let me show you who's talking. There's Gary Chambers. And the dude that put this up, Roland Martin calls out the so-called super black folks, and Gary Chambers has the perfect response. That was the perfect response. How? Because, see, what I see is Gary Chambers, who's, failed run. It failed. Can't really do anything about that. We're not going to be able to get that one back. However, they're talking about this dude down there in Louisiana who just lost. Now, here's another thing that happened. Democrats now have to really recognize the severity of the situation. You got Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who once already said he was not for cash payment reparations. Now, all of a sudden, as an independent, is talking about he's for reparations and support it. Take that with a grain of salt as you will. Truth be told, you need to be hearing what Cornel West has to say about reparations. What does Cornel West have to say about cash payment reparations? Excuse me. Some people said that he actually is against that. Now, I haven't heard that myself, but that is what I've heard in the wind. And so I don't know. But let me take a look at this real quick, because this little tidbit I found very interesting. And this is by Fox News. The headline says Democrats seek reparations, national apology for slavery. We are moving closer. All right. So it says dozens of House Democrats this week renewed their push for reparations and a national apology for slavery by reintroducing legislation that would set up a commission to consider these steps as ways to address the cruelty, brutality, and inhumanity of slavery in the U.S. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, something about this should really come off offensive because they've been hollering HR 40, HR 40, HR 40, HR 40. Like I've been told y'all, HR 40 died J1 this year. None of them have mentioned that. So now they finally get around to reintroducing a bill. This ain't nothing but reintroducing HR 40. Oh, let's see. So Sheila Jackson Lee and 52 House Democrats proposed the legislation this week in an effort to keep the issue alive. Her legislation, which was considered by the House Judiciary Committee in the last Congress when Democrats were in charge, is unlikely taken up in the 18th or the 118th Congress led by Republicans. Still, Jackson Lee said she is hopeful a commission can be formed not just to recommend monetary compensation, but to help America understand how slavery still affects the country today. What that means. Though some have tried to deflect the importance of these conversations by focusing on the individual monetary compensation, the real issue is whether and how this nation can come to grips with the legacy of slavery that it still infects current society, she said. Though legislation, resolutions, news, and litigation, we are moving closer to making more strides in the movement toward reparations. While everybody's getting money, and this is what we're talking about tonight, because we're going to get into how fast folks can get some money. The new House Democrat leader, Hakeem Jeffries, we don't care. Blackenstein, he means nothing to us, said in November he supports the idea of a commission because of the lingering effects of slavery and ongoing discrimination against Black Americans. I don't recall him ever saying that. Where do you have Hakeem Jeffries on camera, on film, on tape, saying Black Americans and what Black Americans face? Where? I would love to see that, because notice that they're like, you're not even quoting it. That this is not a quote. Hey, Hakeem Jeffries. No, Hakeem Jeffries he doesn't even mention Black people, African American. He never talks about Black folks. Stop it. We're not going to move on because after slavery, there was Jim Crow and the rise of the KKK, Jeffries said in 2021. And the lynching epidemic. Oh, and Plessy v. Ferguson and Black Wall Street in 1920. Oh, okay. So this was something that was said back during Juneteenth. Man, if you don't get out of here, you had to go back to his statement from Juneteenth being made a national holiday last year. Wait, I'm sorry, 2021. When you're 2021, you're representing this is the Tulsa thing. Come on, man. Really? This is the best we could do. You had to pull up a 2-year-old. So as House Speaker now, you want to talk about how he's he's the Democrat Speaker now. But in 2021, so 2 whole years ago, is when he spoke on this. That doesn't mean he's championing it now. This was a convenient moment. Lord. Jackson Lee said that while progress has been made, including through the election of a Black president, The legacy of slavery, he's not a descendant of slavery, so it makes no difference. Come on, man. Let's see through slavery lingering. She said the monetary compensation needs to be a part of the discussion because slavery created an economic impact on Black Americans that can still be felt today. Well, thank you for not saying Black and brown people. I appreciate that. These economic issues are the root cause of many critical issues in the African American community today, such as education, healthcare, and criminal justice policy, including policing practices. She said, the call for reparation represents a commitment to entering a constructive dialogue on the role of slavery and racism in shaping present day conditions in our community and American society. The bill makes no recommendation on what kind of payment should be offered or how a national apology would be issued, but leaves it to the commission to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans. Aside from examining the ways of the federal government promoted slavery, the commission would examine the lingering negative effects of the institution of slavery on living African Americans. The commission would examine how to provide full reparations for slavery. Who would be eligible for compensation? We've already addressed that. So we don't have to revisit the lineage-based conversation. But see, somehow we're skipping over this lineage-based fact that we've already nailed down in California. Now maybe this should start coming. There it is. Why now? What was it that got you to move? Oh, well, we need to figure out who gets compensated. No, we don't. We already told you lineage-based reparations. You already identified it. So to ask who needs it from the no, we're not. Everybody can say they had the effects of slavery, even people who were never enslaved. So we don't need to worry about that because they still had a better benefit than those who were in slavery. And all of them, again, were murder victims. And in America, unlike Aruba, there's no statute of limitations. And Jackson Lee noted that the legislation was first developed by the former House member John Conyers of Michigan in 1989. Wow. So, there we go. And again, so it failed, and then you're bringing it back up, right? So let's just hear. I wanted to stop there in the midst of what he was saying just to give you the real in the midst of this BS that he's giving you. Because we don't want to sit up here. No, I just did the work. And they had HR 40, let it die January 1st. Never told you that it died. And this is the Democrats doing that. Now trying to reintroduce the bill as if, but now here again, trying to now again start bringing up the question of who is guilty when you already have established lineage based. So pay attention. This is a Democratic shield move operation.
Not a contribution of any value, to be honest. We have a real opportunity where we can turn things out. And my struggle with all of the people who kick back, and this is for the foundational Black Americans who say that we should not push some of these candidates, you got to get somebody in there to move your agenda. Yep. And if you can't convince people that your agenda is important, you got to build a bridge big enough, a boat big enough that you can cross the river of struggle. Because Black folk tired of struggling. They tired of sitting.
It's very interesting that all of these people, because we're now away from Marcel and Clyburn, that the time that was at 20 21 or 22, the 2022. So they're trying. And Gary Chambers, you were clearly chosen by the Democrats for a face spot, but we had another Democratic candidate in South Carolina who none of y'all supported. Matter of fact, all of y'all took all of y'all opportunity to diss this man. So don't turn around and ask us. See, are y'all peeping the trickery? These people were against Marcel Dixon and then asking us now to get behind somebody, get somebody in there. We had a candidate. So you can no. This play don't work no more. Because we now have Marcel, who was grassroots, and we were trying to get him in there, and we got no movement out of you. So let's not hear about who we need to do and what we need to. No. Oh, no. Remember even Democratic shill Yvette Carnell? I'm not doing nothing. Why he came to me? Okay. Understand what that is. That's Democratic shill talking points at work. Nothing more, none less. I know it sucks to hear, but it's the truth. Here's some more of this BS.
In conditions and communities that are not working. And the way that we advance that is by putting people who share the majority of our views in office so that we can get things done. And then if those people are not doing what we want, we don't put them there again. But I didn't see many people for that were.
No. Again, y'all can't do that. See, here's again, Gary Chambers. You are running at the same time as Marcel Dixon. Why are you getting so much more shine than Marcel Dixon and these two other dudes over here in Mississippi? But Marcel Dixon was shunned and put to the back burner. Why is that? When the voice truly came about, y'all went to work against that man. Matter of fact, let me just do this. So in the midst of this, Roland Martin and Gary Chambers. Y'all remember this dude?
You know one of the first things Black Americans did after slavery? We ran for office. Our ancestors were poor and illiterate for the most part, and still they stood up for us. Nowadays, these Black leaders stand up for everyone else but us. Listen, whether you're white, whether you're Black, whatever, if you feel that these current politicians are not doing right by you, then you run for office and you become the politician who would do right by the people and for yourself as well. Black Americans, we have fought in every single war this nation has had. We have fought for this country even when this country consistently fights against us. It is time for us to stand up and fight for ourselves. Republican, Democrats, neither one's done well for us. Let's replace every single last one of them. Let's run for office or they're going to keep running us over.
I am Greg Marcel Dixon, and I approve this message.
Running for the U.S. Senate last year that had a majority Black staff, that paid majority of Black people with the resources that they raised, $1.3 million, that kept reparations as a part of their platform, and I still was not getting the support of those people. So it's almost like when you're Black and you're running, are you...
Wait a minute. Gary Chambers, reparations was not part of your platform, sir. That's one of the reasons why you weren't getting support. No, sir. You don't get now to sit up here and rewrite your own history. Reparations wasn't on your page. That's a Marcel Dixon position. which he was alone. And we remember.
Ever good enough for black people sometimes, because you say I'm not gonna vote for them just because they black. When they black and they got a college degree and a PhD, you got a problem with that. When they black and they are activists and they are advocates, you got a problem with that. The question is the white man's ice cold?
And again, since I'm just going ahead in there, same thing. Loudmouth Vicky Dillard. All they do is run their mouth. And again, you got black folks who run it. This is for the governor of Louisiana, second blackest state. On here, I see her talking about Kamala Harris, dogging Joe Biden, saying Clyburn sold us out, saying DNC chairman flees if the black Americans confront him, all this sort of stuff. I don't see nothing on here about the brother who's running for governor. And so all I'm saying to all of these so-called super black people, where you at? Because see, you can't keep saying you want this. To your point, Gary, well, who's going to do it? So let's be real clear. We know what Jeff Landry not going to do.
This is so
We know
dishonest.
exactly what he is going to do that's going to be oppressive to black folks there in Louisiana. And so, yeah, I'm purposely name calling all these folks who run their mouths. They love doing videos about me, but it's amazing when it's time to put the metal to the pedal. It's time to really get going, time to actually get folks elected who can speak to our interests. Ooh, they MIA. They in the witness protection program.
Nah, very slick. See, when we need to get people elected who could speak to our interests, none of those people you're mentioning or talking about didn't get support, did that? Here's the problem. They didn't speak to our interests, or they would have had support. The grassroots ain't went nowhere. So let's not cry now because your politicians are ignoring the people. It ain't the people's fault. It's the politicians' failure. They want to be in the social club of DC. They've removed themselves from black society. It's not that we are too black. It's that they are too comfortable and confident in their job. That makes sure benign neglect policies continue. Empty symbolic gestures, a bunch of black faces. So just like you're up here talking, there's another shield on Twitter to promote you, shield on TikTok and Twitter to promote you. And this person has a blue check. They got a little Twitter page. They think they're doing something, and they believe that this is doing something tangible for black folks. Not even, I'd say maybe a third of this group is FBA at best. So how was that tangible? How was putting a black immigrant in a position to do nothing for us a tangible? Black immigrant is the same as a white supremacist to me. If you're coming over here not to do anything for black folks and to do things against black folks, what difference are you? Is it because your skin is black? That alleviates you from being checked of the harm that you're doing to our community? Nah, I don't think so. Let's hear the rest of this crap.
It don't work for us, man.
So that's why I tell folks, if y'all waste your time listening and following any of them, tell me what are they actually doing to advance the cause of black folks. Because guess what? If you're not in power, you can't do anything. Sitting on the curb, chirping and yelling on YouTube does nothing. Are you mobilizing and organizing? Are you helping to raise money? Are you telling people to create phone banks? That's all I'm saying. What are you actually doing? And if you're not doing anything, then you ain't doing nothing for the actual liberation of black people except just run your mouth.
And you would know about the liberation of black folks how, Roland? You've been part of what now? before there was a new Black Panther Party, there was kind of an extended Black Panther Party that was kind of moving around the ranks around the early days of the BGR movement. This is here in Portland. And, BGRs later became RBGs. And so again, a lot of people have looked at, we all did. When we were young, we all looked at Blackness as being kind of universal. Also understanding that we were very different. Our ties go back to the soil. You know what I'm saying? Like for everybody who is from the like Louisianas and Arkansas and all of that area, you really heavy Creole when it come down to Black folks. So, there's a lot of the whole French time, because the French had their slaves here in America. So you got a bunch of offspring of that. So you have nothing but foundational Black Americans of all sorts, because these people are the foundation of America. There's a true lineage that you can find. And true indeed, some of the people down there in the bayou probably do have ties to ancient ties to the Caribbean by way of slavery. So it's not like you were bringing culture. American chattel slavery was different. And on top of that, when you start getting down into the Caribbean and slavery and what they was doing, you think buck breaking was bad in America. Man, there's a reason why them Jamaicans and Haitians and all of them shun LGBTQ practices, because they have a very scarred history with the buck breaking farms. So, come on now. Here's the thing. We can talk about everybody's situations. I don't have to conflate any other group's issues with ours. Our business, it's like, okay, we're all in business. We're all here. You're on a job. Everybody's getting paid. There's only one person who gets your direct deposit. That's you. Yes, we work together. I can speak about your issues. Yes. But when the check hits the bank, that's just you, right? Well, the same thing applies here. This doesn't make it Pan-African. Man, you sound like a Pan-African. No, the hell I don't. I sound like a person that understands my own group's interests and can act on a diplomatic level with other groups to make sure our group is our best interest. That's how you should be perceiving this business transaction. Because here's another thing. When I posted R.F. Kennedy, that he's now supposedly supporting reparations after going on record saying he didn't. People are like, man, so we shouldn't trust him, man. You shouldn't trust anyone. This is politics. The hell are you talking about trust? You are in a business deal. You don't trust Amazon. You do business with Amazon. Your light bill ain't a trust issue. You do business with the light company. There's nothing different here. Business interaction. It's not personal. So I don't pay the light company and then say, you tell me how I use my lights. Same thing applies. You want your vote, you're coming with your own demands on what you need. Because your vote is for a necessity for you. your family, your legacy, and your community. What is that in blue, vote blue no matter who? Where does that represent itself in that gesture, in that sentiment? You understand what I'm saying? With that being said, I want to play a little bit of this, and we're going to get out of here. Let's get this in here. Because Joe Biden, and y'all want this dude in our face. All we can tell you is we ain't feeling your man. And this is why.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. We're facing an inflection point in history. One of those moments where the decisions we make today are going to determine the future for decades to come. That's what I'd like to talk with you about tonight. Early this morning, I returned from Israel. They tell me I'm the first American president to travel there during the war. I met with the Prime Minister and members of his cabinet. And most movingly, I met with Israelis who had personally lived through horrific horror of the attack by Hamas on the 7th of October. More than 1,300 people slaughtered in Israel, including at least 32 American citizens. Scores of innocents, from infants to the elderly grandparents, Israelis, Americans taken hostage. As I told the families of Americans being held captive by Hamas, we're pursuing every avenue to bring their loved ones home. As president, there is no higher priority for me than the safety of Americans held hostage. The terrorist group Hamas unleashed pure, unadulterated evil in the world. But sadly, the Jewish people know perhaps better than anyone that there is no limit to the depravity of people when they want to inflict pain on others. In Israel, I saw people who are strong, determined, resilient, and also angry, in shock and in deep, deep pain. I also spoke with President Abbas, the Palestinian Authority, and reiterated that the United States remains committed to the Palestinian people's right to dignity and to self-determination. The actions of Hamas terrorists don't take that right away. Like so many other, I'm heartbroken by the tragic loss of Palestinian life, including the explosion at the hospital in Gaza, which was not done by the Israelis. We mourn every innocent life lost. We can't ignore the humanity of innocent.
That was not done by the Israelis. Yeah, but you reported that it was done by the Palestinians, and that actually hasn't been proven yet either. But I mean, whatever, Joe.
Innocent Palestinians who only want to live in peace and have an opportunity. The assault on Israel echoes nearly 20 months of war, tragedy, and brutality inflicted on the people of Ukraine. People that were very badly hurt since Putin launched his all-out invasion. We've not forgotten the mass graves, the bodies found bearing signs of torture, rape used as a weapon by the Russians, and thousands of Ukrainian children forcibly taken into Russia, stolen from their parents. It's sick. Hamas and Putin represent different threats, but they share this in common. They both want to completely annihilate a neighboring democracy, completely annihilate it.
It's so funny when you hear stuff like this. What was American chattel slavery? And it's so funny that the very same people who are not rushing to pay reparations can find how tragic and how bad of a situation things are. And then you'll get an American president who was far removed from the conflict to have so much compassion. Find money to help these people. But the American people, especially foundational Black Americans who are due and owed reparations and even just simply some justice and protection to give us all absolute health insurance and coverage of life insurance. Because see, here's the other thing when I bring up life insurance, mandatory life insurance paid for by the government. How would that change policing right there? Do you need a policing act? When police departments have to start paying out into life insurance companies because insurance companies have to start suing police departments? Oh, no, there's a better way. Ain't nobody listening to me, though.
Hamas' stated purpose for existing is the destruction of the state of Israel and the murder of Jewish people. Hamas does not represent the Palestinian people. Hamas uses Palestinian civilians as human shields, and innocent Palestinian families are suffering greatly because of them.
Yeah, let's skip to that. Let's get
Provinces.
To
These are all NATO allies. For 75 years, NATO has kept peace in Europe and has been the cornerstone of American security.
Oh, man. You know, NATO and also the UN. And, you know, the funny thing about that, Joe, is, you know, the UN actually met on this. And you, Joe Biden, you sent a sister out there to veto a ceasefire. Remember, I keep telling you, every time you see a prominent black person's face doing something for this administration, it is something they know has the potential to be disastrous. Like this.
Will those in favor of the proposed amendment please raise their hand? Against? The proposed amendment has not been adopted, having failed to obtain the required number of votes.
Colleagues, the United States is disappointed this resolution made no mention of Israel's rights of self-defense. Hamas's own actions have brought this on, this severe humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Every member state should call on Hamas to cease its endless barrage of rockets against Israel.
All right. I don't know what just happened to my mic, but glad we got that fixed. All right. Let's see. Let me skip ahead here because I want to hear him talk about this money he's trying to get.
Know that Israel is stronger than ever and prevent this conflict from spreading. Look, at the same time, President Netanyahu and I discussed again yesterday the critical need for Israel to operate by the laws of war. That means protecting civilians in combat as best as they can.
They've never done that. So let's just
We have
keep
to
it
work
about.
harder than ever to hold on to the values that make us who we are. We're a nation of religious freedom, freedom of expression. We all have a right to debate and disagree without fear of being targeted in schools or workplaces or in our communities. I must renounce violence and vitriol.
Well, in that case, then a person like Nick Cannon shouldn't catch any flack for supporting Louis Farrakhan, right? I mean, with those religious freedoms and all. I'm just saying.
See each other not as enemies, but as fellow Americans. When I was in Israel yesterday, I said that when America experienced the hell of 9/11, we felt enraged as well. While we sought and got justice, we made mistakes. So I cautioned the government of Israel not to be blinded by rage.
Some people but have said that that same group was
It's
actually
manufactured in 12
but
states
nonetheless.
across the country, in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Texas, and so much more. You know,
Get to it.
indispensable nation. Tonight, there are innocent people all over the world who hope because of us, who believe in a better life because of us, who are desperate not to be forgotten by us, and are waiting for us. But time is of the essence. I know we have our divisions at home. We have to get past them. We can't let petty, partisan, angry politics get in the way of our responsibility as a great nation. We cannot and will not let terrorists like Hamas and tyrants like Putin win. I refuse
Man, what if
to
this
let
was
that happen.
what if this was
It's
like
almost like
for
these. We have to
reparations of black
remember
people
who
in
we
America?
are.
Man,
We're the United
imagine that.
States of America. The United States of America. And there is nothing beyond our capacity if we do it together. My fellow Americans, thank you for your time. May God bless you all. May God protect our troops.
Screw you. So he has proposed $105 billion. $105 billion to be split between Ukraine and Israel. And $100 million for humanitarian aid for Palestine. With a stroke of a pen. Not going to Congress, not nothing. It's just, right? What's happening here? So this is what he's doing. But we need to get people in office who represent our interests. He and his people are the head of your ticket. His agenda is absolutely anti-black. What person is coming out of the Democratic Party that is willing to go against that position? Because right there, what I just showed you, if he is at the head of your ticket, you're not even going to debate it. He got some nomination, you're stone cold with that. Then, how does that translate to anything other than what we've already seen from him? Our interests aren't taken in regard at all. You have a flooded border, and then you're sending billions overseas. While now the Democrats feel some kind of desperation to have the Black Caucus get out there and act as if they're pushing for reparations when they let almost 10 whole months go by and not tell you that H.R. 40 is dead. It died January 1st. They kept trying to throw it in your face as if it was still viable. Now they have they got a new situation and they're throwing it at you. This is what we have for you now. That's what you got. What can one say then? Now, go back to how we started. We talked about George Floyd, right? Talked about his George Floyd bill. Well, none of that went through. And then he tells you, well, some of the things I put in the George Floyd bill, that actually worked. I put that in an executive order. Nothing else that I actually could have done for specifically for your group did I do as executive order. But see, the things that I wanted to do in the moment, I did it. And things of the elements of in that bill were in that. See, got your back. And some people, you stupid fools. And then here come 3-card Monty Y'all just live doing videos about me because this is comical. And you're lying, Roland. Simple as that. You're lying, dude. Anyway, before we get out of here, I'm not sure if I have to cut the intro video out, but family, there was an incident caught on this man's own dash cam. But we have a something here called the Grand Floor Parade. It's the Rose, this is Rose City. So we have a big around our Rose Festival. We have a big to do, and it's bringing in ushering out late spring, getting ready for summer type of festival. And there was an individual here who had some strong feelings against the parade. Let's let you hear what he had to say. Now I'm gonna mute it when it comes down to the music.
Exit! The convention center exit! Every motherfucking exit! You yeah!
So needless to see, as you can see what he's doing, he's driving around everything. He's driving on the side of the road. He's driving around traffic. Things are blocked off. And he basically says, screw it, that ODOT has blocked off certain things so you wouldn't drive through a parade. So here's the parade. So, turn right on it. That's why they had it blocked. And now he's right on the parade route. Yeah, see all the people on the parade. And hey, screw it. It's going to go ahead and drive right on down the parade route. And what's so crazy is this dude literally has multiple cameras on his car and drove through the parade route. Now here, as we seen this dude, we seen the footage. It was like, what's up with this cat? I mean, you can tell it's a pickup truck. Okay, we don't talk. But it's just so funny. Like, again, this is one of those things where things that the average public doesn't get a chance to see. There it is. Ooh-wee. And again, for those of y'all, man, I don't know what y'all think y'all gonna be doing outside. You want Trump and this and that? No. We just tell you we ain't free.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
Babylon is falling. Let it fall and let us rise. Can you dig it? Oh, ladies and gentlemen. So yes, this has been the weekly wrap. We are talking about Joe Biden and George Floyd would-be 50th birthday. And this brother just and if you look at, if there's another article that goes into what Joe Biden was talking about and talking about how he is strongly trying to do something about gun violence. Gun violence has nothing to do with George Floyd's death at all. There was no gun used at all. No gun came out of a holster. No, not even a chokehold was used. That's not what happened here. But cool for you to implement not using a chokehold and the lynching thing, which, already got around that because there's no lynching crime on the McMichaels. They do have a federal hate crime, but not a lynching crime. And then all these dead bodies that are coming up. And of course, there's Carolyn Bryant that you did nothing about. So, Biden that's for you. Simply put. And for all of you shills who think that, like, you're seeing the Democrats taking some hits and you just can't face it. You want to tell, we know we're not losing. This is not by accident, it's by design, baby. Like it or not. I know how much my numbers can be suppressed, but I see how many of you think tank shills are starting to follow me and all of these bots you keep sending at me. That's amazing. But whatever. This is we do what we do. And always remember.
You shouldn't have been talking shit.
So, Roland Martin, other people be going at me, and I just defend myself. And And at the end of the day, your party wants to intermingle our reparations claim with other people. And we just not going for that, brother. So simply put, hashtag hands off our reparations.
You have no rights here. We're not under the empire.
So with that being said, family, if there is some of you out there that are upset at our stance, and the grassroots is making its point very clear. You already have other people putting this idea out here. The Democrats are already going back to the drawing board, understanding reparations has to be in the conversation. So all the intangibles, no vote, intangible, no vote. If you believe we are not aware of our wins, well, like I said, this is by design, not by accident, not by chance, not by happenstance. So Roland Martin and the rest of you Biden sexuals, if you think this tide is turning, well, I will speak for myself. Beatzilla PDX official, Beatzilla PDX official show. Those of you here in the chat, the grassroots, and the voices of new black media. I think it's safe to say I speak for all of us when I say we proudly dedicate this song to you. Family, you can follow me at Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at beatzillapdx. Email me at ourrealtruth@gmail.com. And if you want to support this broadcast, you can do so by hitting that thumbs up and sharing this on your social media. And you can also do so by way of financial donation at CashApp, $beatzillapdx. That's CashApp, $beatzillapdx. And also, we have PayPal, and that is Zilla Muzak. That is ZILLAMUZAK at PayPal. And so, with that being said, family, we always keep our 3 smooth stones of truth at ready, along with the slingshot. Because you know how it is out here in these streets when you have nothing but anti-black haters and reparation haters out here. Not to mention vultures. So always stay vigilant about that. Stay black. Stay vigilant. Stay alive. Black first. Black first. Black first. Shalom, y'all. Have a blessed and fulfilling weekend.
When you know who Satan is,
Yes, sir.
you don't have to kill him. No. The stone of truth. See, that's what you throw.
Right.
Allah says, had we wished to take a pastime from before, surely we would have done it. Nay, we cast truth at falsehood till we knocked out its brains. Every one of you that knows the truth, stand up and tell it from the mountaintop. Black people can't take it no more. So wherever you are on the job, in the factory, I don't care where you are. If you know the truth, stand up on the truth and tell Satan, who the hell are you to try and pick my friends? Farrakhan is God's man, and you are from the enemy of God. So to hell with you. Stand up on it like a man.